Hey guys, so one of the number one questions I've been getting lately has been how to apply under eye concealer in a way that is not creasy or cakey. So that is exactly what we are going to go over today. We are just going to go over step by step exactly how to apply your under eye concealer so that it looks absolutely flawless, and most importantly, it does not cling or accentuate any of your fine lines. If you're new here, welcome. This channel is all about easy to follow beauty advice for everyday women. Nothing on this channel is super complicated. We're never gonna learn how to paint a mural on our eyelid or anything fancy like that. I'm teaching you the basics: skincare, makeup, how to have a good routine that isn't gonna break the bank and is gonna be achievable. If you'd like to join the Hannah with the Lipstick community, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps out my channel, and it also allows you to stay in the loop for upcoming content. Unfortunately, there's a lot of beauty bloggers on YouTube and Instagram that use tons of concealer under their eyes. That might look good on them, but in general, just speaking population-wide, that typically is not the way to go, and it usually ends up looking very cakey and can really draw attention to fine lines and dryness under the eyes. So if you're someone who's using a ton of concealer, that's probably your problem right off the bat. Another thing that I see all over YouTube and Instagram are people who are using extremely light concealer under their eyes. So like I said, this can look amazing on certain individuals, but population-wide, I have seen this go south. A lot of people try to use this super light under eye concealer, and then they take a photo and it looks like they have actual white paint underneath their eyes. It's not cute. My biggest advice: find an under eye concealer that's only slightly lighter than your foundation shade. You don't need to go any lighter than that. If it looks good on you, then awesome. But if you're having trouble with your under eye concealer, that could be the cause. All right, let's get into step by step how to get our concealer on point and avoid all of those issues that I mentioned before. So the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is wash your face. Washing your face is so crucial. You wanna get any excess oils, debris, past makeup, any of that. Just wash your face. Start with a clean canvas every single time that you do your makeup. The next thing that you absolutely have to do under your eyes is moisturize. The biggest key to getting a smooth, flawless looking under eye with makeup is having moisturized, smooth skin underneath. If you have really dry under eyes and you put liquid makeup over it and then you powder over top, it is gonna look like a cakey mess. One of my favorite moisturizers or face creams that I like to put under my eyes is the Laneige Water Bank Moisture Cream. This stuff is so good. It makes my under eyes very hydrated. I recommend letting it sit on your skin for about 2 to 3 minutes before you apply your concealer. Another really great moisturizer for people especially with oily skin types is the Clinique Dramatically Different Moisturizing Gel. I really like this one, and I feel like it does a great job under your under eye concealer. I've been switching back and forth between my concealers. So everybody knows about Tarte Shape Tape. This is kind of a cult favorite in the beauty community. I've also been using the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This is a great drugstore concealer. I don't see it hyped a lot online for some reason, but I'm obsessed with it. I actually reach for this way more than I reach for any of my high-end concealers. I'm gonna link every product that I use in this tutorial down below, so if you're curious about either of those concealers, it will be in the description box. For today's tutorial, I am gonna be using the Milani concealer just because, like I said, I have been loving it and I really wanna show you guys how good it is. All right, so this is the part that is the most important in the entire tutorial. It's where you actually place the under eye concealer. So I see so many people putting a ton of product right up next to their lash line, and it honestly just makes me want to scream. Like, that is the number one way to get super creasy, cakey under eye concealer. If you put the wand, like if I were to just take this wand and literally just put it right next to my lash line, I've done this before, it never turns out well. It is so creased and so cakey. So your under eye, the biggest part that's gonna be creasy for people is typically right up in here. So if you're putting the majority of the product there, it has nowhere to blend out and it always looks terrible. So just don't do that. Okay, so when I'm putting on under eye concealer, I usually put it mostly on my cheekbone area. So I kind of put it where you would highlight on your face. And notice how far away from my eye I actually am. And I don't put too much product. Like, this is a very thin amount. And then I just go probably to here. I don't go too far in because it's gonna blend out that way. And then what I do is I first take my clean finger and I just tap on that product. And I don't go up yet. I start to just blend it out and blend it up. And then you can kind of gradually start going towards your eye, but don't go all the way to your lash line. Okay, so now that we have it part of the way blended out, we are gonna take a damp beauty sponge and we are just going to tap on that product. All right, so it's very important. You're tapping most of the product away, up and away. And then down here, you're also going towards your nose. So notice the last place that I'm gonna be blending, the very last place, is actually up underneath my eye. And that is because you do not want too much product right there. A lot of people struggle with dark circles right here, so they think all the product needs to go there. It just ends up looking cakey. You don't need that much product. And if you do, you can use a color correcting kind of concealer lightly underneath your regular concealer. More of just like the skin colored concealer isn't gonna do anything. If you have extremely dark circles, you need to use like a peach colored concealer or dot some color correcting kind of color underneath your concealer. But don't try to cake on concealer to hide dark circles. All right, so this is the difference between the two sides of my face. So this one has more discoloration. You can see some redness, kind of where my circles are. And then this side is just way more evened out, but the biggest thing is that it's not cakey and it is not creasy. I do have fine lines underneath my eyes, but it is not clinging to them because I didn't put too much product where those fine lines are. All right, so now we are ready to set our under eyes. Before you set your under eyes, you're gonna wanna make sure all of the creases, if there are any, are out. So if you set a crease under your eye, it will stay there. So take your finger and just make sure that every little inch of your under eye is completely creaseless from the get-go. I like to use RCMA loose setting powder. I redistribute it into this container, but I will link RCMA powder down below. I like to take my damp beauty sponge and I just dip it into my powder, and then I go from the outer corner of my eye to the inner corner. So I start out here and then I just lightly tap. Do not rub. Do not rub your beauty sponge ever. It is meant to be tapped. If you want to rub your beauty sponge, go get a brush. It's just my pet peeve. All right, so you are going to keep on tapping under your eyes, and then it's gonna look like that. So we kind of have a baking situation. And if you're someone who doesn't like to bake, you can just do this, but do it in a thinner layer, or you can just use a brush, like I mentioned. So what I would typically do is I would do the rest of my makeup, and at the very end, I would, maybe I'd do my eye makeup, and then I would take off the under eye setting powder, and then I would finish with bronzer, highlight, blush, all that good stuff. But for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna pause for a second, wait like 2 minutes, and then we are going to brush this off and I will reveal what my under eyes look like. All right, so it's been about 2 minutes, and I'm just going to go ahead and fluff this under eye setting powder off of my face so you guys can see the finished product. I just like to use a little brush and just lightly dust that away. All right, so now we see the finished under eye concealer. It is set, It is completely ready to go. At the very end of doing my makeup, I like to use a setting spray, but I just wanted to show you guys how this covers really well, but it does not look greasy, it does not look cakey, and most importantly, it is not clinging to my fine lines up here. So, recap of what we talked about: prep your skin, be sure that you're using the right color of concealer. The placement matters. Start at your cheekbone and work your way up gradually until you get to your inner corner. Set your under eye and then brush it away. Finish your makeup. Set your face with a setting spray. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope it cleared up some of the pain points of putting under eye concealer on. If you guys have any video requests that you would want in the future, leave them down below. If you guys are interested in me doing a full skin prep and foundation routine that shows how to not have cakey foundation or have your foundation cling to fine lines or wrinkles or, acne and stuff like that, leave a comment down below and I will create that video if it is something you guys want to see. But for now, I just wanted to create the under eye concealer video because I know that all of you guys were very interested in it and I wanted to deliver the answer.